Welcome to another of the A-18 training sessions in DCS World. The last time we learned how to land, as it says here, a simple straight-in landing during VFR conditions. It's a little bit wobbly because I'm struggling to get used to the sensitivity of these fighter aircraft. I'm used to flying Cessnas and general aviation passenger jets, and those things usually require quite a bit more input than what these do. So we're going to try to see if we can make this one a little bit more steady and stable and by the book. So let's get on it.
In the previous lesson, we learned how to perform a simple straight-in landing during VFR conditions. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to perform an overhead landing pattern. This should be your usual VFR landing pattern, and it will be very similar to a Case 1 landing pattern you'll use to land on the boat. I currently have the lesson paused, as I want to first outline the airfield overhead pattern. Before flying the lesson, please make sure you are familiar with the HUD symbology as described in the manual. Press spacebar to continue. Ahead of you is a series of gates that you will fly through. These are designed to instruct you on where you should be during the pattern. You will start the pattern at 800 feet and 350 knots, just to the left of the runway. At the end of the runway, brake to the left with a G of 1% of your airspeed, in this case, 3.5 G for 350 knots. As your speed decreases, relax the G to match the speed. At 180 degrees of turn, level out on the downwind leg and descend to 600 feet, and you should be below 250 knots. When below 250 knots, lower your landing gear and lower the flaps to fold down. Press spacebar to continue.
Okay, so to repeat, to make sure that I understand what's going on, we're basically going to use the G meter here to control how hard we're turning. So we basically want the number here to match the first two digits of the number here once we start the turn. So we're going to I'll try to do my best to do that, but I don't have a lot of experience in these fighter jets, and the fine-tuned control just isn't there. It's going to take me a while to get through that. So this is likely to be shaky, but I will do my best. So let's try it.
Once on the downwind leg, establish yourself at 600 feet and slow the aircraft to on-speed angle of attack of 8.1 degrees. This can most easily be seen on the HUD by keeping the velocity indicator inside the E bracket. To the left of the HUD frame are the angle of attack indexer lights. When on speed, the center donut should be lit. Maintain on-speed angle of attack during the downwind leg. Press spacebar.
Talking about this indicator here. There's a little circle here that says that you're in the right place, and then arrows to tell you if you're too high or too low.
As you roll out on the runway heading, fly to place the E bracket on the runway threshold and use throttle adjustments to control your glide path to be 3 degrees. Use pitch trim to keep the velocity vector centered in the E bracket. Press spacebar to continue. Okay, so I think I'm starting to understand the system here. I'm used to using throttle to control my descent rate and my pitch to control how fast the airplane is moving through the air, but it seems like in this jet, your throttle is primarily to put the E bracket where it's supposed to be, and then the pitch is to make sure that the velocity vector is in the middle of that to give you the proper descent rate. So we'll continue trying to do that. Let's go. Prior to touchdown, do not flare the aircraft, but rather let it fly into the runway with no more than 750 feet per minute, as indicated above your altitude on the HUD.
That's this one
That
here.
is an overview of what we will be doing. Before we try this out though, let's first set up a couple of things in the cockpit. First, set the altimeter display on the HUD to display radar altitude by moving the altitude switch on the HUD control panel to the down RDR position.
Okay.
Using what you learned in the TACAN lesson, set the TACAN to 67X and a course of 70 degrees. This is the TACAN channel for Kobuleti Airfield, and it will provide us useful information to line up our downwind and final approach legs of the pattern. Press spacebar when done, and you are ready to unpause the lesson.
Okay, so this is the part where I normally start getting a little confused because there's just a lot of information, but I remember we have to press this a couple of times to get to our horizontal situation indicator. We go to our horizontal situation indicator, we press the TACAN, but it doesn't actually box it like it's supposed to, so I'm not sure why, but we're supposed to be able to press TACAN. It's already on X, so we press 67 enter. Oh, wait, but we got to turn it on. 67. And now, okay, so now we have our tack in. I really wish the box would show up so I could know that it actually registered, because when you press the waypoint, it actually does, but the tack in just doesn't seem to want to. But we have the information here, and they want us to set a course of 70 degrees using this course thing here, but I don't remember. Or was it supposed to be 2? We had it set on channel 2 last time. I don't know if that makes a difference. Tack in. It's on. But the course changing thing is not making it... Oh, wait. No, this stuff is for the waypoint stuff. I'm not really sure how to adjust that. Tack in. It's on. It's set to 67X. Transmit and receive. Oh, it doesn't show up until after that. Okay, so I must have some kind of confusion in the step somewhere. Okay, so I think I have to have the tack in on, and then I can box it. Does that still allow me to change my... Oh, okay. That makes the difference. Okay, that's why it wouldn't box. So now we know. Now we want to set this to 70. Does it tell me... Okay, so the course select is right down here. It's at 64 right now. We want to set it to 70. Now we're good. Okay, so if you're confused as to what I'm confused about, go back and watch the radio navigation where they go over the tack hand stuff, and you'll see what I'm talking about with this not getting boxed. So I clearly have the steps out of order in some way. I'll figure that out at some point, but now we know. We have the radio set up.
We are now flying a heading of 64 degrees at 370 knots and 1,000 feet. Fly through the gates ahead, which will place us at 800 feet and offset to the right of the runway. We don't want to directly overfly the runway. Maintain an airspeed of 350 knots. Cage the velocity vector on the HUD by pressing the Cage Uncage button to the right of the throttle grip, or pressing C.
I'll go ahead and just press C, because trying to look down right now while I'm doing this is not reasonable. Okay, we're trying to maintain an airspeed of 350 knots, so I need a little bit more throttle.
We will continue to follow the gates for a 180-degree turn into the downwind leg. The turn rate will be based on a G that is 1% of our airspeed. In this case, 3.5 G for 350 knots.
Okay, so I'm going to do my best to do that. Watch the G indicator, I guess, and we're going to try to... Hey, this... 3 point... something. Oh, I think I leaned over too much. See, this is what I'm talking about. I'm not familiar enough with the dynamics of this aircraft to be consistent, but we'll do our best.
Now on the downwind leg, lower your landing gear and set the flaps to full once below 250 knots.
Ugh.
Whilst doing this, descend and maintain 600 feet.
Okay. Try to get below 250 knots. Try to control my pitch as the flaps come out. Need to get down to 600 feet, but the flaps are causing me to rise again because I need to be more proactive with controlling that. Alright, we're way past the runway, so I'm just going to turn and go now. I'm sure I wasn't supposed to, but... There's the runway. Alright, we get the velocity vector, or the E bracket, down to the runway. So slowing, we're using the throttle to control the E bracket. Pitch trim, and pitch and trim to, I'm way too high. So yeah, I think I turned off way too early. Okay, bracket on the end of the runway. Pitch to keep us at the runway. Oh, nope, 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 slow down. At the end, we kind of got it, and then we just let it fly pretty much into the runway, I guess. Okay, well, we didn't really follow the instructions of the actual video, but we got there. I don't know, I'm used to, like I said, I'm used to general aviation aircraft, and the idea of flying that far out just seemed kind of ridiculous, but I guess we needed it because we ended up coming in way too high. So, we're not going to repeat this, lesson. There's no point. The idea was to show us how to do basically a case 1 landing, which is that. So, sorry for jumping the gun. I got a little impatient or a little uncertain, and we ended up landing anyways. It's fine. So, thanks for joining me for today. We'll move on to the next lesson, and hopefully I won't make that mistake again. So, see you next time. Bye, guys.